Hey everyone, and thanks for jumping back into the Cryptoverse. Today, we're going to talk about Ethereum, as it has finally hit a new all-time high. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and also check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com, where we have discussed this move in great detail for years for Ethereum. The breakdown by Ethereum because of a breakdown by Bitcoin when it normally doesn't, to allow Ethereum to go home, something that happens every single cycle. And by allowing Ethereum to go to the regression band, it has then allowed the ETH pair against Bitcoin to bottom out, which has then allowed Ethereum, the necessary buyers down here at 1600 and below, to then propel Ethereum beyond 4K and into new highs. This has been the base case, right? We got a lot of hate on this channel for saying that this move to all-time highs would not happen until Ethereum went home. But we stuck to it, right? We had conviction on this idea, and now it has played out. So, with Ethereum going to new all-time highs, it raises the question, what's next? Well, if you've watched my videos for the last couple of years, you'll know my expectation for Ethereum on the first run of the highs, right? And it's unfortunate because this is a cause for celebration, right? I mean, Ethereum hitting a new all-time high after 4 years, in my opinion, is a cause for celebration. Right? How do you not celebrate something like that? Because only a few months ago, so many people were calling for the death of Ethereum and how it would never go to all-time highs. And yet, here we are, right? It's proof that there was nothing really wrong. We just had to see Ethereum go home, right? It had to grab a drink, and now it's on its way. And so, when I'm going to talk about, what I think is going to happen over the next few weeks, I don't want you to be upset, because first of all, if we're being honest with ourselves, I don't actually have a crystal ball. And so there's a really good chance that even though I even said we're likely going to see an all-time high in August. And last week, after the PPI data come out, I got a lot of hell on X because, well, it didn't look like it was going to happen. But yeah, here we are. So I don't have a crystal ball. And unfortunately, it's only a matter of time before I get something wrong. And unfortunately for me, because oftentimes my opinions are bold about certain things, like, Ethereum going home and rallying to all-time highs in August, right? Sometimes it works out, and it feels really, really good when a prediction works out. But then occasionally it doesn't, right? Where I make a bold prediction, and I feel so convinced by what's going to happen, and then the market throws me a curveball, and the reason is because the market humbles everyone. I've learned this lesson so many times over the last 10 years, right, in the markets, that when you start to feel too confident in something, the market will likely throw you a curveball and do something completely different that you're not expecting. So I want you to keep that in mind. I'm only human. I'm going to make a mistake some point soon. And it's just a reason to have a plan beyond just the path that I say. All right? Remember that, because no one actually knows what's going to happen in the market. We make predictions. Sometimes we get lucky. Sometimes things don't go our way and we have to reassess what the market's doing. But based on everything that we've said for years, and this entire move of Ethereum going home and then going to all-time highs, what I think is the most likely outcome is for Ethereum to drop in September. Now, where will Ethereum drop in September? First of all, look at the calendar. Is it September yet? No. Okay? So if Ethereum goes up this week, get off my back, right? It'd be great if Ethereum went up this week. I would love to see it sweep 5K before a pullback in September. But unfortunately, I don't always get what I want. But I do see a pullback coming for Ethereum next month. I want to draw your attention to the last 2 Septembers of post-election years for Ethereum. September of 2021, Ethereum dropped 34%. September of 2017, Ethereum dropped 48%. I think Ethereum will check back in with its bull market support band in the coming weeks. So, essentially, we get the run of the highs. And by the way, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, this was the more optimistic outlook. If you go back and watch my Ethereum videos from like a few weeks ago, back when it was like 3,300, right? Back when it was over here, what did I say? I said, look, guys, what I'd like to see happen is for Ethereum to run the highs in August so that in September, when we have our negative seasonality for whatever narrative you want to make up, it corresponds to the initial pullback off the highs. Because a lot of times when an asset sweeps a high that's been holding resistance for like 4 years, it's going to get usually a knee-jerk reaction back down, right? And so it's great if that reaction back down can correspond to a time when we already have bad seasonality. If Ethereum were still sitting at 3,500 right now, I would not like that at all, because what it essentially would mean is that, you know, like then it would mean that, you know, the pullback could take us back into the 2000s, right? And then we still have to run the highs and get rejected at some point. So for me, to have Ethereum put in new all-time highs in August was the best case scenario, right? That was what we wanted to happen. Now it's happened, right? Now it's happened. And what I think is going to happen is the time frame for Ethereum to set its local top is over the next week. Approximately 1 week. It could go as late as very, very, very early September, but I would lean towards thinking it's just going to be in August. But I'm not completely closed-minded to the idea of it happening the first day of September in 2020. The pullback didn't happen until after a spike on the first day of September. So it is possible that something like that happens. But what I think is within about the next 7 to 8 days, I think Ethereum will put in a local top. And ideally, below, let's put it this way. If Ethereum runs too hot before the September pullback, which I don't think it's going to, right? I mean, it could go, a 5K is fine, right? 5,100 is fine. 5,200 is fine, right? Like, it's fine if it goes there. But if it runs to like 6K or something, that could be it. And I don't want that. You know, I want it to go on, you know, a little bit longer. So what I think would be the best case for the market to kind of set up a stronger October, what I think would be a better scenario is for Ethereum to pull back in September to then allow an explosive October, right? That is what I think would be the best case scenario. Because if not, if this is where my streak ends, right, and I get the path wrong, then it would likely just lead to a lot of people chasing, right? And getting sort of like a melt up into a top during a time frame when it doesn't normally top, right? So what I think is the most likely outcome is Ethereum puts in a local top within about the next week. A pullback to the 20-week SMA is going to likely happen for Bitcoin in September. And because of that, it's going to drag Ethereum down with it. Now, when Bitcoin gets that pullback, it's likely going to cause ETH to drop against Bitcoin. That's the most likely outcome. Ethereum is leading right now. It absolutely is. And it's led since it went home in April, right? It has. But I think we need another macro high or low. I think we're going to get it in the September to October timeframe. Could be as late as the first day of November. But September, October, I think you're going to see ETH Bitcoin start to fall back in a little bit and try to find a macro high or low. So, what I'm watching for over the next week is for Ethereum to find a local top. It could already be in, theoretically, if the high is just 49.56 or whatever. Could be in. Could also easily see a scenario, right, where Bitcoin holds on for like one more week, allowing Ethereum to run 5K. Would really like Ethereum to just run 5K, kind of in the same way of, just breaking a new all-time high. If you can break through that barrier 5K, then when September hits, you've at least gotten that out of the way, so that when October comes around, you've kind of already got through the 5K sellers, right, before the September pullback. So that would kind of be like the most optimal scenario. Don't know if we're going to get it. Look for a local top, within the next 7 or 8 days. I would expect a pullback by Ethereum in the September timeframe to then lead to another rally in October to fresh all-time highs. So again, can you stomach the drawdown? It's crypto, right? I mean, this is what you signed up for. I don't know why you're mad at me. If you can't handle 20, 30% drawdowns, then, I go somewhere else, right? Go somewhere else. Don't be here. Because that's just what's going to happen. So in the meantime, celebrate the all-time high for Ethereum. It is, it's a remarkable thing that this has played out. And it's crazy how it just bottomed right at that regression band, right? So here we are, running the highs. Give it, and this is the thing, right? When I say run the highs, sometimes people think that means that it has to immediately pull back. The thing is like, when you look at this in like 2 years, whether Ethereum topped last week for a local top or it tops this week, it's not going to matter, right? It's going to still look like it just ran the highs before pulling back. So give it some time. If we're sitting here and it's mid-September and Ethereum hasn't gotten that sort of mean reversion, then I'm wrong, right? And if that's the case, I will just come out here, head held high, and say, you know what? I got that one wrong, right? But that's just what I think, right? That's just what I think. I don't know. Just seems like the perfect setup is a run of the highs, a pullback in September, and then another move up in October. That's just what it seems like is the most likely outcome to me. And I'm gonna go with that, right? I'm gonna go with that until proven otherwise. If you guys like the content, make sure you subscribe to the channel, give the video a thumbs up, and check out the sale on Into the Cryptoverse Premium at intothecryptoverse.com. I'll see you guys next time. Bye.